everyone, welcome back or welcome to Astrology with Georgie. If you are new here, then welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future content from me. And if you do get value from this video, then please be sure to drop a comment and give the video a thumbs up. I do also do personal readings. My information is on my page. I will also write some stuff in the description box. But yeah, if you would like to get a personal reading, then my information is on there. I am on TikTok as Georgie Ogden 444. I'm also now on Substack, guys, which I'm going to link below, but that's very exciting. So be sure to come and join me on there if you are into written content. And you can find me on Instagram as well as Georgie Ogden Astrology. So eclipse season is upon us. Now, this video is actually going to be a little bit shorter today, guys, just in the sense of I'm not going to do the tarot cards. One of the reasons being I just feel like eclipse energy is so chaotic. What will be, and I think that's going to be the motto of this video. What will be. I have had a very crazy week under this eclipse energy already, and we're not even there yet. I was actually supposed to record this last week, and unfortunately we had a bit of a tragedy in our family, so I'm a few days behind. But it just goes to show that you can, this eclipse is happening on the 14th on Friday, but we can feel the effects before. So if you're watching this, you might already know what's happening in your life. Something may have already shown up. This is a full moon. It's a lunar eclipse. So a lunar eclipse is a full moon eclipse, and a solar eclipse is a new moon eclipse. This is a full moon. So it's something coming to an end, something coming to a culmination. Eclipses are, in a nutshell, sorry, I need to clear my throat. In a nutshell, eclipses are full and new moons on steroids. That's what astrologers tend to say, because it's true. It's still a full moon. It's still a full moon in the sign of Virgo, but it's got extra potent power. And eclipses are times where, the universe is aligning, the universe is shifting us back into alignment. So things that are not meant for you, or karmic contracts that have come to an end, will be removed from your life. This sounds kind of dramatic. Often it is dramatic, but it's not always bad. It very much depends on your personal chart. And I just want you to remember that it really depends on your personal chart whether this eclipse is going to play out for you in, a more challenging way or in a more helpful way. What perfected year are you in? This eclipse is happening in Virgo, so the mutable signs will feel this in a more poignant way. That's Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Virgo, because the eclipse will be squaring or opposing you. But nevertheless, it is still happening for all of us somewhere in our chart. Now, eclipses, like I said, they can be felt a few weeks before and then weeks and months after. And this is something that will start to unfold shifts and changes in your life. So what I want you to do, I want you to think back to what has happened over the past year and a half. So since the beginning of 2023, what has happened in the Aries and Libra section of your chart? Because there would have been some changes and some shifts there over the past year and a half, because that's where you had eclipses before. So now we're moving into the series of eclipses that is happening in Pisces and Virgo. So for the next year and a half, 2 years, we're going to be having eclipses in these signs. And in 2 years' time, you will look back and you will think, okay, these are the shifts I experienced in that section, those sections of my chart. So you don't necessarily, sometimes you can really notice stuff straight away. Like, for me personally, we've had a major event happen in our family last week, and it's part of the eclipse story for us. But some people will not necessarily feel something, and they'll start to see shifts over the kind of upcoming months. So it really does depend. And it really depends, have you got anything around the 24 degree mark? Because this eclipse is happening at 24 degrees of Virgo, but it's on the South Node, which can feel a little bit more challenging, because the South Node is kind of the more spiritual of the nodes. So the North Node is here, the South Node is here. This is basically when the sun, the moon, and the earth are in alignment. So we can look at this as kind of symbolism. You as a person, as a human being, are being forced back into your own alignment as the sun, the moon, and the earth are forming into their alignment. And that's how you've got to look at it. And when I say alignment, it can be that, like I said, contracts come to an end, friendships end, relationships end, people pass away, people change jobs, people get married, people have babies, you know, huge shifts. And it's not always shifts that you saw coming, and often it can be out of the blue and it can feel chaotic. Again, depending on your own chart. So yes, do you have anything around 24 degrees? You know, if you, and actually, you know, you've got Saturn here at 22. If you've got anything from kind of 20, 21, 22 all the way to 29 degrees of the mutable signs, then you will feel this. There's a lot of energy going on here. And because of all the retrogrades we've got going on as well, there's just, it's just a lot. Like, we don't often see, you know, Venus is retrograding right now. Mercury, the day after the eclipse, is stationing retrograde. And both of these planets will be moving past the point of the next eclipse. So in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have an eclipse in Aries, and both of these planets are moving past that point. So there is kind of an element of maybe not necessarily for some people seeing what this is going to bring straight away, because it might be that after the retrograde process is over, because both Venus and Mercury are going to retrograde back into Pisces before they move forward again. And this is kind of taking us to April time. So it might not be until April where you start to see shifts or things as being cleared up or sorted out in some way. Now, like I said, I'm just going to go straight into the signs today. I'm not going to talk about I'm not going to do the tarot cards. But just know that this is basically a full moon in Virgo on the South Node. So we are releasing something, we're saying goodbye to something, and we are letting go of karmic patterns that no longer serve us, karmic contracts that are outdated. Eclipses are spiritual, they are karmic, and they are aligning us towards what our soul chose to grow and move towards in this lifetime. So if things are falling away in your life right now, let them, because it's supposed to be happening, okay? Like I said, the South Node is a little bit more challenging than the North Node, but both of these signs are activated right now, and I will talk about that when we come into the chart. But you've got a lot of planets in Pisces, which is activating the Pisces part of your chart, but then the actual eclipse is happening in the Virgo section of your chart. So I'm going to start with Aries, and we're going to move through to Pisces because that is the natural zodiacal order. Listen for your rising sign. It's going to be the most accurate, but do listen for your sun and your moon as well, as they will possibly all relate and you can put them all together. Let me know in the comments as we go what's happening. Can you feel this shift? Can you feel what's going on? I would really love to hear from you. Aries, sun, moon and rising. This eclipse in Virgo is this lunar eclipse in Virgo. It's happening in your 6th house. So this is highlighting something important, and you may start to see big shifts and changes to do with your health, your routines, your schedules and your work. This is also the house of pets. So something is being highlighted here for you, Aries, about your health. You know, you have got the sun with Saturn, which is asking you to be responsible about something to do with your self-sabotage, something that you need to heal, something that you need to work towards. Maybe you need to focus more on your spiritual and emotional healing and come away from working too much, burnout. You can definitely see yourself coming into burnout and coming into, you know, something being highlighted about your health around this time. Now, yes, this for some people, worst case scenario, it might be that you are, you know, you're having to visit a hospital, you're ending up in hospital, you've got appointments for things. But there's just a focus here on your health in some way. Maybe you are, because the ruler of this is Mercury and it's about to station retrograde in your 1st house. So maybe you are realizing something about your health. You're realizing something about your routines. Maybe you're having to address something. You're having to address something about your physical body. You're having to redo something. You're having to go back, you know, maybe appointments. Maybe you're here, there, back and forth to do with doctor's appointments, to do with your health. That's also possible. For others, this might not be health related. It could be more about like your routine. So this is your work and your schedules and your routines and changes in this. So for some of you, it's changes in your job. Maybe you're realizing that your job is not worth this much energy. It's not worth being burnt out. And so therefore you're reworking something and you're rethinking something about the direction of your life, and it's directly tied to your job. So over the next year and a half, you could see job changes, job shifts, changing careers, that kind of thing. This is, you know, going back to the health thing, it's like self-care, your routine. So this is anything that's to do with like diet plans, what you're eating, what you're putting into your body. You know, do I have allergies? Am I allergic to this? What exercise routine am I doing? All of those things can come up. Now, with the Sun and Saturn here in your 12th, you know, maybe you are trying to focus more on meditation or Reiki or sound baths or any form of spiritual healing in order to work on your physical healing. So this can be a time when you're really feeling more called towards spiritual practices with the North Node here, in order to benefit your health. Or maybe you, depending on your line of work, maybe you are working in hospitals, you are doing some sort of healing as part of your job. So maybe you're working in a clinic, you're working as a psychiatrist, you're in healing fields, and so maybe you're changing jobs and you're going into a field that's to do with something healing and something behind the scenes. That's also possible. Some of you could be saying goodbye to a pet. Or working with pets behind the scenes. You know, veterinary stuff can come up here. What else can I say about that? This is also your co-workers. So things coming up to do with the people that you work with, you know, secrets, things going on behind closed doors, conversations, having to have a conversation with a person you work with about a secret or something that's been going on behind closed doors. Things are happening behind the scenes to do with your co-workers, that can also happen as well. But big highlighted themes for you, Aries, around your health, your work, your routines, and the people that you are of service to and the people that you work with. So I hope this eclipse is going well for you. Let me know what's happening and I will see you in the next video. Taurus, Sun, Moon and Rising. This full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo is happening in your 5th house. This is highlighting something to do with your love life, your romance, your children, topics around children, your business and what you're creating and what you do for fun. So there's a lot to unpack there. So there could be something happening in a partner's life. So this could be something to do with your romance. You're realizing something about a romantic partner. You can meet somebody that's really destined right now. If you're single, you can meet somebody that you feel like you've known before, South Node, because you probably have. Changes within your relationship. With the ruler of this being Mercury in your 12th house, maybe a partner is losing somebody or healing something or letting something go in their life. There could be a secret love affair involved here for some of you. Maybe you're doing something secretive behind a partner's back to do with a romance. That is also possible, with the ruler of this being over here with Venus in your 12th house. You know, maybe you're texting your ex or you're hearing from your ex, but it's something happening that you're kind of keeping to yourself. That is also possible. For others, this is going to be you're thinking about what it is that you enjoy. You know, what do I do for fun? Maybe you're wanting to join a new group for fun, something that lights you up, something that is destined. You know, big changes around how you show up in the world, how you step into your limelight, letting go of things that don't serve you, and letting go of putting your time into things that aren't aligned with you, and maybe finding groups and find things that do align with you. It could be something that you've been thinking about behind the scenes or working on behind the scenes, but you can definitely maybe see changes in, you know, your hobbies and things that you are doing for fun. You know, leaning into groups. So is looking like it's going to be something, you know, for example, joining a dance class or doing something, you know, a spiritual group that you see as a hobby can also show up. Maybe something to do with something spiritual, actually, with the rule of this. Maybe you're joining like a new medium group or a new spiritual group in some sense. This is also the house of children. So if you have children, there could be big changes in your child's life. You know, maybe things going on at school, people gossiping, secrets coming up, that kind of thing can happen. Maybe your child is trying to heal something or let something go or work on their mental health. Or if you don't have children, this could be that the changes with children. So this could be pregnancies, this could be giving birth, especially with the ruler in the 12th house. So this is hospital visits to clinicians. Yeah, it's very speaking towards kind of things to do with hospitals, and children can be coming up over the next year for you, basically. And also, what are you creating? You know, what are your business goals? What are you working towards? What are you creating? Because you've got the Sun and the North Node in your 11th house, which is your goals for the future. And this full moon is in your 5th. So again, it's like work. If you run your own business, something that you are creating, there's going to be big shifts in what it is that you're putting out there in terms of your goals and what you're working towards. So romantic, creating, children are the main themes for you, Taurus, and big shifts in this for you. Now, if you find any of these topics difficult, like your love life or things to do with your children, then you have to kind of try and lean into reaching out to your friends and groups of people in order to help you work through those things, okay? Because that's the whole point of kind of balancing the axis. So let me know how this is showing up for you. Has anything happened this week? Can you feel anything brewing? And I will speak to you in the next video. So Gemini, Sun, Moon and Rising, this full moon lunar eclipse is happening in Virgo in your 4th house. This is important for you because it's an angular house. It squares you. This is going to be more prominent, more poignant, especially if you have planets around the 24-degree mark, like I mentioned in the intro. Make sure you watch the intro. Now, this is going to be changes and shifts to do with your home, to do with your family. So yes, there definitely can be things to do with parents coming up here, changes within your parents' lives, people retiring, people just big shifts in your parents' lives possible, or your family members. If it's not showing up in your life, it can be showing up in a family member's life. This is changes within the home. This is moving, renovating, making big changes in your home. Basically, not everybody will move, but if you are moving, then it can definitely impact your career, or it could be that your career's changing and that's making you move. So it depends, but there can be some shifts in where you live, where you're working. Are you working from home more because of a shift in career? All of these things can come up with this house activated. With the North Node in your 10th house, I'd be surprised if any of you don't make drastic career changes over the next year and a half. Taurus have just been, Cancer rising have just been through this. And so ask a Cancer rising, what career shifts and big moves have they made with the North Node in their 10th house? Because you guys are going to be making some shifts. But the full moon in your 4th house, this is, changes within the family, changes within the home. Things from the past can come up as well, because this is the house of like our memories, our ancestry. So over the next year, maybe you're going to have more interest in where do I come from? What's my ancestral history, and digging up photos and memories, and all of that kind of stuff can come up as a theme, as kind of like a bigger theme this year. Where do I truly come from? Now, the ruler of this is in your 11th house. So it could be something to do with your home and making impulsive decisions, Mercury in Aries, or things to do with your goals. So your goals about where you live are changing, or you're moving in with a friend. Some of you might be moving in with a friend. Some of you might be, a friend might be moving in with you. All possible. Maybe it's somebody that you work with, or it could just be a friend separately. But the 11th house is our friendships. So there's definitely a point of either your goals around where you live are changing, or there's a possible moving in with a friend, or they're coming to stay with you, or something like that could be part of this story as well. That's kind of the gist of it, really. It's really, and this is your emotions. This is the house of emotions. So emotions that you've buried definitely coming up under this eclipse. So just remain calm. You might feel very emotional, perfectly normal. But just know any changes coming might not be happening till April, because there's a lot of retrogrades going to be going into your 10th house of career, into your 11th. So what you're working towards, your career and your home, there can be shifts, but you might not be moving forward with things until kind of April time. So let me know, Gemini, if you know what this is for you. You might feel this brewing. You might know what this is. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising. You guys have got this full moon in Virgo, lunar eclipse in your 3rd house. Your 9th house is also activated because you've got the North Node, the Sun, Saturn, all of this here. So these are your houses of information, okay? The 3rd house is about connections, siblings, relatives, what we're learning, what we're studying, our neighborhood. For some of you, your neighborhood could be changing, or there's shifts with your neighbors. Maybe neighbors are moving out, maybe neighbors are moving in, or maybe your neighborhood is changing. Possible. Maybe you're moving. You could be moving because the Venus that rules your 4th house is retrograding. So maybe you're rethinking, or maybe you're just rethinking about where you're living or your living situation at the moment. The 3rd house is connection. It's our friendships. It's who we connect with. So big changes in people's lives that you connect with, big changes in what you're learning, what you're studying. So you could be reading more, listening to podcasts, doing blogs. You could be writing. You could be creating something. You could be the person that's creating something. because then where this energy is in the ninth house, this is about publishing. So maybe you are creating stuff that you're publishing. Maybe you're learning stuff. Maybe you're wanting to take a higher course or a higher education or study something. Maybe something to do with your career, because Mercury that rules this is in your 10th house of career. So are you studying something? Are you learning something? Are you traveling around lots for your career? Maybe you're driving here, there, and everywhere. You could also find yourself just going on lots more short trips under this energy, with a friend, just, trips into the local city, local town, whatever. Like I said, changes within your local neighborhood. This is, the local groups and the communities that you're a part of. But the ruler is in the 10th house. So again, it's really is kind of tying in your reputation. So this is going to be something that's public. So maybe you're putting out something public, or maybe what changes you're having, or this could be changes with siblings and relatives, but it's going to be something that is kind of public and well known. Do watch out for changes and shifts or letting go of relationships to do with your siblings and your career, or maybe some issues can definitely come up, karmic relationships, or contracts coming to an end, or having to sort something out with siblings, or you can just maybe feel things brewing in that area with your siblings or your relatives. This is your extended family as well, so matters of that can come up. This is also the house of like your car. So when it's travel, make sure that you're doing all the safety checks of your car before you travel anywhere long distance, just because you can see issues with your car and travel under an eclipse. So just make sure you're driving safely and doing kind of all the safety checks. And again, this is like teaching. So maybe you are learning from a teacher, or you are the one teaching other people. These themes can also come up as well. So information houses activated, and the houses of travel. Eventually, the eclipse is happening in your 3rd house, but with the North Node in your 9th, there are going to be things coming up, Cancer, where you travel across the year, places that you were always meant to go to. So that's something kind of exciting to look forward to. And these houses, this is sextiling you, this is trining you. So earth signs, earth and water support each other. So that's not necessarily bad. Let me know if you know what this eclipse is doing for you, and I will see you in the next video. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This lunar eclipse in Virgo is happening in your 2nd house of your finances, your income, your resources. Now, this whole axis is highlighted. You've got the Sun, Saturn, North Node in your 8th house. But something is being realized here, or there's going to be changes and shifts in your financial situation. Now, it could be that you are having to borrow money. A lot of the time, Saturn in the 8th house is that we are taking out loans, or we are, we're having somebody lend us money, or we're having to take responsibility for our finances in some way. Could be that you're buying a house. Could be that you're, taking out a business loan, something like that. And that could be part of this story. Now, it could be that you're something to do with, because the ruler of this is Mercury and it's in your 9th house. So this could involve legal matters in some way. So yes, you could be selling a house and having to sign paperwork. Anything to do with joint resources seems to be relevant, and it's directly tying in what you earn and changes in your money. Now, it could be that you are coming into some money. It could be that you're coming into some inheritance, or you're getting you're paying off a loan, an investment's coming in. But with Saturn and the Sun together, there's highlighting something that you need to address in your 8th house of shared resources. So although the North Node's here, this is what you're being pulled towards, changes within your shared resources. But with Saturn and the Sun, it kind of feels a little bit more like you're having to be responsible for something, or there's a delay or a hardship in some way. And you're having this realization about changes to your money. It's going to be different for everyone. Now, it could be that you're getting divorced, and that's a legal tie. You're thinking about separation, you're thinking about divorce, because this is the house of intimacy, realizations about your partner's money, changes in your partner's money. Maybe your beliefs around money are changing. Maybe you're working on your limiting beliefs around what it is that you can earn, what it is that you can create because of something else going on in your life. Maybe broadening your horizon around your financial situation, expanding your mind, thinking of the bigger picture when it comes to your money. Spending money on travel, putting money on a credit card because you're going traveling. Some things like that can come up. But throughout this year, there are going to be big shifts in your money. What am I earning? What am I spending? Where's my money coming from? And it can involve some sort of transformation that you're going through with all these planets in your 8th house. The 8th house is the house of Scorpio. So you could be going through your own personal transformation, personal crisis, and therefore it could be affecting your money. Or it could be affecting, you know, this is also the house of, you know, what actually is really important to me. And there's going to be some big realizations this year for what actually is important to me. What do I, you know, what do I really want from life? What do I really enjoy? And what do I value? And those are the shifts that you can see coming up. Yeah, that's kind of the main gist of it, Leo. It's really is kind of financial, but also tying in, you know, some sort of transformation that you are going through, and maybe your partner is going through in terms of, you know, it could just be conversations that you're having with your partner about money. But there seems to be some sort of legal matter, so it could be conversations about a will, conversations about inheritance, you know, those awkward conversations that come under the eighth house, those deep kind of secrets. All of that can kind of be a focus, but it's directly tying in what it is that you value and your resources. Let me know how this is playing out for you. You are going to be seeing some shifts. It doesn't have to be bad. It could be that you're coming into some money, or you're changing your job. You know, there's a sextile to Uranus in your 10th house of career. Maybe your job's changing, and therefore your finances are changing as well. So let me know, Leo, and I will speak to you in the next one. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Wow, this is your eclipse, guys. This is all about you. What shifts are you going through at the moment? What has happened in your life? Just know if things are falling away from you, that everything is always working out, even if it feels uncomfortable. You are going to see major changes in your life this year. You could be letting go of control, letting go of the need to have everything perfect, whether you like it or not. You can be propelled to focus on your relationships in some way. Big changes within your significant one-on-one relationships, and it's affecting the direction of your life, and it's affecting who you are as a person and your identity. You know, maybe you are releasing, like I said, just the need to have everything under control, because you're realizing that actually you can't control everything, and it's directly tying in either loss, you know, it could be loss of a person for some of you, but for the most part it's not going to be that. It's just going to be changes within your closest relationships. This is your romantic partnerships, your best friends, your parents, your children, anyone that you have a significant one-on-one relationship is, they're going to be going through a massive change in their life in some way. They could be transforming, they could be healing, they could be going through a crisis. It's everything in a seventh house is about other people, but it's directly going to have an effect on you and your life direction. Mercury is your chart ruler, and it rules this eclipse, and it's in the eighth house. So there's an element of financial matters. There's an element of personal crisis, or going through something really deep, working on your psychology. You know, again, for some of you, it could be dealing with, you know, doctors, therapists, healers, and it's helping you transform. But for others, it's just going to be a harsh realization about a person that's close to you in your life. And having to compromise and having to work through something, and there's just going to be karmic changes here. Now for some of you, you are, if you're single, you are meeting someone significant. You are meeting a very karmic spiritual, maybe you're meeting a soulmate, maybe you're meeting a twin flame. That's possible. With Saturn in the seventh, it can actually be like a sign of commitment. Maybe at some point you're going to get married. At some point you're going to, you know, make that intimate bond with another person. But this particular eclipse, being opposite Saturn, there does seem to be some sort of harsh reality about important people in your life, and it can be that whatever's happening is changing your life direction and you as a person, and it is going to be different for everyone. But these changes are going to help you grow as a person. Okay, it's going to help you develop, going to help you grow, going to help your soul grow in this lifetime. Now that sounds kind of all a bit dramatic. There's, you know, it depends on your, you know, what perfected year in. Do you have any planets at 24 degrees? Just changes in your life direction, and it could be that you're changing jobs because you've got Jupiter in your 10th house. It could be that your business relationships are changing. It could be that you are, you know, the people that you work with, your clients, you know, that could be changing because maybe you've got a new job, or maybe your status is changing. You know, all of these things can happen, but we kind of have to look at the personal chart. But there are going to be significant shifts in your life this year, and maybe you're focusing more on spiritual healing and coming away from either health matters or just coming away from having to have everything under control because you're realizing that actually you can't control certain things in your life. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. So you guys are experiencing this eclipse. Oh, let me move it on a sec. There we go, sorry. You guys are experiencing this eclipse in Virgo in your 12th house. So this is highlighting your health axis. You've got a lot of planets in your health house right now. The Sun and Saturn, the North Node are here. So you're realizing something about your health or your routines or your work. You could be working too hard. You could be having changes in your daily work, or you could be kind of focusing on your health. But the full moon is highlighting something that you need to release and that you need to let go of. So do you need to release a self-sabotaging behavior? Have you got an addiction that actually is not serving you anymore? And so you're wanting to get rid of it. This is the house where we self-sabotage. This is the house of mental health. And so there's going to be significant changes to this house. It changes to your mental health, changes to your health, changes to your routines. And this is, what we're releasing, what we're letting go of. So we can see hospital visits, we can see clinics, retreats, spas. Maybe you are visiting some spiritual healer, a shaman, doing an ayahuasca. All that kind of stuff can come up because the ruler of this is in your 7th house of one-on-one connection. So maybe you are working with somebody that is going to heal you, working with a therapist, working, like I said, a spiritual healer, a Reiki therapist, someone that's going to heal you spiritually because of your physical health and that matters that you want to focus on. Others, there's just going to be themes around, what am I doing to my body? And if you're not addressing this, Libra, then Saturn and the North Node in your 6th are going to make you address this. So you are being called towards addressing your health in some way. Hospital appointments, all that kind of stuff can come up as you're focusing on your health. Now, this could be a realization around spiritual matters in terms of, for some of you, if you work in the spiritual field yourself, so change it, meditation practice, maybe you are taking a course or doing something to become some sort of spiritual healer so that you can work one-on-one with people. That's also possible. Now, with the North Node and the Sun and Saturn in your 6th house, there can be changes to your work, the people that you work with, the clients that you work with, and with the full moon in your 12th house, secrets can come to light. So secrets about your working environment, things coming up that you didn't know was going on behind the scenes, that's kind of all possible. And so there can be some shifts with the people that you work with because of things being revealed to you that were hidden. So that can all come up, and therefore you can see changes in your working environment. Things to do with pets, big pets. So this is like horses, cows, cattle, all of that stuff can come up in the 12th house as well if you work in farming or something like that. This is also the house of faraway places. Maybe you're traveling for work. Maybe you're wanting to get away. Maybe you and a partner. Like I said, you could be going to a spa or a retreat with a best friend or a partner, but actually maybe you're traveling far away with a best friend or a partner just in order to just have that break and just have that little bit of peace. So you can see some big important trips coming up for some of you. Let me know how it's going, Libra. How do you think this eclipse is playing out for you? And I'll see you in the next one. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. You are experiencing this full moon in Virgo in your 11th house. So this is your house of your friendships, your networks, who you hang around with. You are going to be seeing big changes in the groups that you're a part of. People, great endings and great beginnings. People coming out of your life, people coming into your life. If you are part of a group that's no longer aligned with you, or if you're hanging around with friends that you just don't feel are right for you, you may see them disappear under this eclipse. Especially if they're people that you work with, because the ruler of this is Mercury and it's here in your 6th house of work. If you're working in an organization that is not longer aligned with you, it will fall away. You could see changes within your friendships at work. The North Node and the Sun and Saturn are in your 5th house. So this is like maybe you're not having fun. Maybe your fun is restricted in some way, and it's tying in the groups that you're a part of. Maybe you're realizing this isn't fun. I don't like these people. Maybe they gossip. Maybe they're not aligned with you. And there's this big realization here, and that's what the shifts are going to come from. Your goals, there's going to be changes in your goals and what you're working towards, and it can have direct impact or something to do with your romantic partner. Maybe you and your romantic partner maybe your goals together are changing. If you are a part of any health groups, so this is like, gyms, football teams, rugby teams, any teams or groups to do with health or routines, maybe you're saying goodbye to them or you're joining new ones. There can be shifts here around health groups. But the focus is on what you do for fun. The focus is like, okay, what do I find fun? My romantic partners, what am I working on? And you're releasing people pleasing and being part of this group stuff that isn't aligned with you. So you can basically see big shifts and changes in your groups and your networks and the goals that you're working towards. And it's tying in something to do with your fun, your partner, and maybe kind of health stuff as well in some way. But let me know, Scorpio, how you think this is playing out for you, and what shifts can you kind of see happening already? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You are experiencing this full moon in Virgo, this full moon eclipse in Virgo in your 10th house of your career, your status, your public reputation, and your goal, the goals and the legacy that you're building. So this is important, Sag, because this is a house that squares you. This could be felt strongly. It's an angular house. You've got a lot going on in your 4th house right now, which is a sensitive point. What changes are you experiencing within the home? What shifts? What are you having? What realizations are you having about your home environment? This could be directly connected to your reputation, your status, and the goals that you're working towards. Now, for some of you, this is going to be job changes, like career changes. Like you are not doing this career anymore. You're going to eventually, as this year unfolds, be seen as a completely different person. So that's, your career's changing. What you're working on is changing. The ruler of this is Mercury. It's in the 5th house. So it can be what you're creating is shifting, is changing. Changes to your business, changes to your career, changes to your brand, all of that kind of stuff where you're seen in the public eye is changing in some way. There's a rethinking process, and maybe you're creating something new with Mercury and Aries, something new. For others of you, this is going to be a change in your relationship status, because this is your status. The ruler of this is in your 5th house of love. So changes to your relationship status are possible. You could be going from married to single. You could be going from single to married, divorced, all that, changes in your relationship status. And it could go either way. Definitely possible. There can be changes to your reputation based on your children. Maybe your child is having a baby and you're becoming a grandparent. That's definitely possible. You could be becoming a grandparent, or whatever the goals that you're working towards, there's going to be shifts. So whether it's your work goals, whether it's how you're known, there's shifts, and it's directly connected between either your children, your love life, or what you are creating. There's also changes to your home with all this stuff going on in the 4th house. So some of you, it's like maybe you're moving, maybe you're retiring. That's possible. Maybe you're retiring and you're having to downsize your house. Maybe this could have something to do with a child. So maybe a child's moving out of or thinking about moving out of your home. Maybe you've always lived with a child and they're now moving out. That, anything to do with your children and how it affects your reputation is possible, but it's also tying in factors of the home. So there's going to be some shifts there. But let me know, Sag, how you think this is playing out for you. Wish you all the best under this eclipse energy, and I will see you in the next one. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You are experiencing this full moon lunar eclipse in the 9th house. This is the house of adventure. It's quite, it's a fun house. It's a house that trines you. So you can see shifts and changes around your thinking, your beliefs, your spiritual beliefs. Maybe you're becoming more open to a more spiritual way of living, or you're releasing the need to have everything under control about your beliefs in some way. Maybe you're focusing more on having a softer approach to your thought processes and getting lost in your dream world a little bit more, and releasing the need to, have this really strict set of beliefs for some of you. Maybe your beliefs are changing because something going on within your family. Shifts and changes around travel. You could be traveling somewhere that you've traveled to before, or just traveling somewhere important over the course of the next year. Traveling with family members traveling to see you, possible. This is the house of learning and teaching. So are you publishing something that you've been working on? Are you teaching? Are you teaching from home? Are you, maybe you're teaching through the computer. That's also possible. I think we're going to see more of that with Uranus going into Gemini. But you've got a lot of focus here on teaching and learning. So depending on what your job is, maybe you're doing a lot of communication via computers kind of thing. You could meet some important gurus and people that are going to teach you something under this energy. Some shifts in, like I said, what it is that you're learning, what it is that you're publishing. This is also the house of legal matters. So there can be some legal matters involving the home, paperwork involving home. Maybe you're having to have renovations and you have to sort paperwork out. Maybe you're having things fixed and it's all to do with kind of paperworky stuff. Possible. But for a lot of you, I think this is going to be about your beliefs and how you show up in your mind. You're being encouraged to develop your thought processes, and there are going to be some changes in your siblings' lives and your relatives and connections with them. But with the South Node in the ninth, it's about releasing karmic patterns that no longer serve us. So I really just feel like a lot of Capricorn risings, especially, with Virgo on your ninth house, there can be this very logical approach towards your beliefs or your thoughts, unless you've got something else in your chart changing this. But there's kind of a very logical approach to your world views, shall we say. And so maybe you're releasing this a little bit, and there's going to be some shifts, and like I said, you're just going to be kind of changing the way that you look at stuff. Travel, publishing, legal matters, and teaching, and your beliefs. So all of these things are going to be seeing changes and shifts throughout the course of the year as you are working towards developing relationships. This is the house of connection. So developing relationships, changing the way you think, and focusing more on consuming information and broadening your mind in a more spiritual way around the stuff that you're learning. So let me know, Capricorn, if that is resonating at all. The rule of this Mercury is in your fourth house. There are elements around your family. So maybe things are happening with your family. It's directly connected to things that your thought processes and what you believe in. But let me know how this is playing out for you, and I will speak to you in the next one. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You guys are experiencing this lunar eclipse in Virgo, full moon in your 8th house. This is a sensitive house. This is an important house. You are going to be seeing shifts in your finances. So this is the axis of finances. This is shared resources. So you can be paying something off, paying off a loan, taking out a loan, someone lending you money. There's big shifts here in terms of your finances. You could be going through your own transformation. The 8th house is about personal crisis and transformation and our psychology. Therapists, anything to do with divination or deep talking, psychological issues can come up here. So there can be an element of having to talk through stuff with people, connecting with therapists maybe from the past or astrologers, and kind of releasing mental health problems as you focus on your self-worth. So how are you releasing negative ways of speaking to yourself? Because this is Virgo and the 8th house is our psychology. So releasing negative ways of speaking to yourself, healing something around that as you focus on your self-worth, as you focus on building your own finances. Like I said, changes in your shared resources. This is, money. The rule of this in the 3rd house is sorting out money. So it could be sorting out contracts for money, for shared resources. This is taxes, finances, loans, investments. All of this stuff can come up. Anything to do with your shared resources, even your partner's money, changes to your partner's money can show up. No longer needing to rely on a partner's money because you're focusing on yourself can also show up. And maybe it's because you are doing your own connecting, your own networking, you're creating something. Maybe you're writing, maybe you're developing something in terms of the media world, and therefore it's having an impact on your finances. This is also the house of hands. If you work with your hands, maybe you're doing something to do with your hands, working with your hands in some way, and your finances are benefiting. But basically, with the North Node and the Sun and Saturn in your second house, there's an element of focusing on your own money. And Saturn is here so that you are learning lessons around your own resources. But this particular full moon is a realization, a letting go, and a shift. I don't need that person's money anymore. I'm making changes. Or it's not necessarily that. It could be that you are having to address or having a realization about, any debts that you have and that kind of stuff. And basically, finances are going to be a theme. But there's a connection too with Mercury ruling this in the third, the details and having to sort out the paperwork and things around it. So let me know in Aquarius if that makes sense. And I'll see you in the next video. And last but not least, but Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising. This is really, really important eclipse for you, because obviously you've got all of this stuff going on in your sign right now, and the South Node is in your 7th house of one-on-one relationships. So this full moon is happening here. This is a full moon lunar eclipse, releasing and letting go of something around a significant relationship in your life. Now, for some of you, this is quite literally saying goodbye to somebody that's in your life, a departure in some way. Or having a realization about your close connections. Who's there for me? Who's important in my life? How are my relationships showing up? How are my relationships important? And this full moon is highlighting that. And over the next year, you are going to see some changes and some shifts in your relationships. Now, the ruler of this is in your 2nd house. So again, it's tying in your values. What do I value about my one-on-one relationships? What's important to me about my one-on-one relationships? Changes to your business partnerships, changes to your clients and sales, all of that can come up in the 7th house. 7th house is people that we work with, doctors, astrologers, going back to an astrologer, going back to a therapist. All of those things can come up where we're seeing and connecting with people from our past, exes, things like that can come up, hearing from exes and stuff like that. But really, there's a lot of a deeper importance here, because the North Node, the Sun and Saturn are in your sign right now, and Neptune. You are going through some changes. Maybe you are going through some challenges and you're having to deal with something and become responsible, or you're dealing with a harsh matter, or you are dealing with some karmic matters. You're focusing on yourself and you're leaning more into spirituality, Pisces, and you're releasing the need to have everything under control, because you are learning you can't control things to do with your relationships. You can't control everything. Which, if you have enough Pisces planets, you're good at anyway. But this full moon in your 7th house is highlighting something about people in your life. And you are going to see shifts and changes in those people. It could be that you break up with best friends, you break up with a partner. For some of you, it's possible, not everyone. Full moon is a highlight, but it's an eclipse. So there's going to be shifts. There's going to be shifts in all kinds of your relationships. There's going to be shifts. So whatever changes are happening right now, you have to surrender. Eclipse is all about surrendering and knowing that everything is always working out for me. That's kind of the mantra that you have to say. Everything is always working out for me, because you are being propelled and catapulted towards your soul's chosen path during this whole eclipse axis in Pisces and Virgo. So you guys are being pushed towards your destiny. It doesn't always feel comfortable with the North Node. No one said it felt comfortable. But yeah, this eclipse is going to be important for you guys. So let me know what's happened. What changes have you been experiencing in your life? Have you said goodbye to a relationship of any kind, or are you having a big realization? Or is your partner, if you know, it could be a partner is experiencing something significant as well, or an important person in your life, they are experiencing something significant. So let me know in the comments how this is playing out for you. I think I'm going to do one tarot card, and this is, I mean, you guys are probably going to be the only one that's listened to Pisces, but whoever's decided to listen to this all the way to the end, you get the Queen of Water. I just felt like I wanted to do a card there for you. Queen of Water, how very Pisces. This is about self-love. It's about loving yourself, taking care of yourself, nurturing yourself, tapping into your spirituality. And I'm going to read you the positive affirmation. If I can find the Queen of Water. Compassion, emotional security, generosity, self-love, self-care, and healer. I am comfortable in my own skin. I love, cherish, and nurture myself. I am the best friend to myself. My relationships with others reflect my security in knowing I am always worthy of love and respect. I heal myself so I can be the change I want to see in the world and so my compassion can inspire others. So that's really nice. It's really being called towards focusing on yourselves right now, no matter what you're going through. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. If you got some value from it, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.